Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, I want to talk about crabs. You see, ladies and gentlemen, for some reason I don't completely understand. Krabby and Kingler have gone and seen quite a lot of love in Sword and Shield. Now, there were so many cards released all around at once, and it's taken us a while to get to them, but it is very, very much time to talk crabs. And there's actually 2 Krabby and 1 Kingler that I do want to be having a chat about today. And I want to start off with the Krabby from the V-Decks, because this is one of the weirder, cooler Pokemon that we've seen, and I love it. So starting off, 2 colorless energy, 120 damage. That is ridiculous and amazing and phenomenal. There must be a catch. There definitely is a catch, ladies and gentlemen. You see, you got to flip 2 coins. And if either of them is tails, this attack does nothing. Yeah, there's your catch. You got to flip double heads. Now, to be fair, right, 120 damage is still great. Like, it's still awesome. 120 damage will get a lot of non-GXs, though we do talk about the difference a lot between 120 and 130, and it really is in play here. So there will be a few things like Naganadel and Buzzwole, for instance, rocking 130, that you will actually not quite KO. Okay, that's slightly sad, but you're still getting a lot of non-GXs here. I mean, if you come against something like a Zapdos, boom, he gone, or I don't know, a Malamar, for instance. Yeah, you've got them. In terms of hitting for weakness, I mean, if you come against something like a Blacephalon, for instance, you will get a nice, easy one-hit KO. But against something like a Reshiram and Charizard, you will be 30 damage short. And even if you use Vitality Band, you'll be 10 damage short. 120 plus a 10 for Vitality Band is 130. Double with weakness is 260. And that will actually leave you 10 damage short. Although, of course, Shrine of Punishment is a thing. And that's kind of my point here. You can be using this to get a one-hit KO. And I know it takes a little bit of investment, but it's an evolving base. It's not just a basic, it's an evolving basic that can go and get a one-hit KO on a free prize tag team Pokemon. I think it is absolutely fair that it takes a little bit of investment here. Now, in terms of the investment, we do need to get the energy on, and we do have ways to get the energy on. Now, we no longer have double colorless energy, and because it's not an evolved Pokemon, you can't use triple acceleration energy, which means that you're not just attaching one energy card. Now, we do have Welder, we have the aforementioned Malamar. You could use Tapu Koko Prism Star to accelerate a lightning energy here, and then attach for the turn. So, don't get me wrong, right? We got plenty of ways to get the energy on. We're just not doing it as one straightforward attachment. I'm totally okay with this, but I just need it on the record that this is a thing. So we don't mind getting the energy on, and it's down to the flips. And time was we'd have the Victini, or we would have Trick Coin, and either of those cards would be awesome because it would allow us to reflip. Still wouldn't guarantee, we'd still only have the same 25% chance of flipping double heads, but you would be able to take that 25% chance twice. So that would be a lot better, ladies and gentlemen. That would be a much better situation. So it's flippy, and it's only got a 25% chance of working, but it's colorless energy. It's quite a lot of damage. I like it. I don't, just to be clear, right? I don't actually think it's a kind of attack you should build your deck around, although I think pre-releases are going to be won and lost with this card. But I do think that it's a really fun little emergency, I've got nothing else, why not tech. And to be fair, even in water decks, you've got Naganadel and Quagsire, so that could be a, that could be a fun little combo to be playing around with. I don't think it's a great card, and I don't think it is going to be amazing, but I just think there's so much awesome potential here with an evolving basic that does 120 damage. I had to show it to you. Now, to be fair, there is another Krabby, and the other Krabby's kind of cool. I mean, if we look at the basic side by side, they've both got 80 HP, they've both got a retreat cost of 2, they've both got a weakness to lightning, and they've both got a water typing. So there is nothing to choose between them there. As a side note, the lightning weakness not ideal, because Morpeko V is looking extremely good. Morpeko V's first attack does 20 damage. And 20 to your bench. And as a side note, Tapu Koko V, who's also looking incredibly good, has a first attack that does 20 damage and then lets you draw some cards. So, yeah. If they use a single Electro Power with weakness, they'll then be hitting 100 and they will be getting a fairly straightforward, easy KO. That is, let's just say, a sad state of affairs. It's not ideally what we're looking for here. But if we have a look at the other Krabby, we've actually got a really nice attack that I like rather a lot. 1 water energy, 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. Now, this isn't Tapu Koko, alright? Tapu Koko had free retreat and did 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. But this isn't exactly a million miles away. I mean, in terms of good spreading Pokemon we've got at the moment, our options are basically Lurantis, who does 10 to all your opponent's Pokemon, but it's a stage 1. It is for 1 colourless energy, but it's still a stage 1. Or we've got Noivern, which does 20 to all of your opponent's Pokemon, for 1 colourless energy, which just completely eliminates Lurantis. But again, you're on a stage 1. You've got 10 more HP, you've got free retreat, and you do 20 rather than 10, so Noivern kind of makes Lurantis look a bit stupid. But it doesn't make Krabby look that stupid. Now, it is a water energy, not a colourless energy, so you've got to have the water energy in your deck. You've got to commit to it in that regard. But you're still spreading 10 to all your opponent's Pokemon. And if you're playing an evolution deck, a lot of the time, turn 1, you have very little to do. You're just kind of sitting there chilling. You're waiting. There's not a huge amount you can do. So why not have an evolving Pokemon that's got an attack like this? Could work. Again, it's not an attack that is just going to win game after game after game after game, but it is an attack which, if you're playing, a Kingler deck and you've got an evolved Pokemon, you're going to need a basic, and this will work quite nicely. It doesn't have that 1-turn smashing for 120 potential, but it's still very, very fun. And like I say, in terms of spreading Pokemon, the only one we've actually got at the moment that's better is Noivern, and that is a stage 1. But the free retreat and spreading 20 does make Noivern significantly better. So we've been talking about Krabby all this time. There's got to be a Kingler in here somewhere, surely? Well, yes, there isn't one in the V deck, it's just Krabby, but there is one in Sword and Shield. 130 HP is nice. We talked about the difference between 120 and 130. The lightning weakness we've talked about, but at least a Tapu Koko V with an Electro Power will not get a KO with the first attack. And a retreat cost of 2 is higher than we might like. But remember, we've got that balloon card that reduces our retreat cost by 2. So, yeah, we're feeling alright. Now, really here, we got 2 usable attacks, but I think I like the first one best. 1 water energy, 40 damage, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. It's not bad. I mean, look, this isn't going to be the centre of some giant mill deck. It's very much like we said about the Guzzlord from Cosmic Eclipse. It's not intended to be, I am going to mill you out in 60 turns, or a little bit less, but you know what I'm saying. But wouldn't you rather be doing 40 damage while milling 1, rather than just milling 1? I would. Personally, although Guzzlord is a basic and it's still got 20 more HP. But the point is here, it's a nice little bonus. Maybe you're using stuff like Belelba and Bryson Man for a little bit of milling. Or maybe you're just doing 40 damage and milling 1 card. I mean, if you're hitting for weakness, you're going to get some evolving Pokemon. I mean, Cinderace is a very good deck at the moment, so you'll be getting the Score Bunny. That sounds like fun. And let's not forget that Ditto Prism Star has 40 HP. So there's your 1-hit KO on that, sewn up pretty quickly. and you're discarding the top card of their deck. And no, you're not going to run them out of resources, but maybe you hit a supporter and they didn't have one in hand and now they can't use it. Of course, I suppose you can make the same argument. What if you hit not a supporter and then they top deck a supporter? Maybe. Or maybe you hit one of their 4 triple acceleration energy cards that just really can't be recovered. You could really hurt your opponent with this. It's not really central to a milling strategy, I don't think. But it's a little bit of damage with a little bit of milling, and that makes me happy. Now the bigger attack here, 1 water, 2 colourless energy, does 90 damage, but if your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage, you do 150 damage. Now the attack cost here is quite high, but being an evolved Pokemon you can use triple acceleration energy, plus you've got that Naganadel Quagsire combo I told you about, so that could work. Or even doing something like some decks are doing, where you use red and blue to evolve a GX, or evolve into a GX, maybe something like the new Silvally, and then use Quagsire to move it up into the active. Something like that would work quite nicely. But then you're doing 150. And hitting for weakness against Reshiram and Charizard, yeah, they're going right down. Unless it's a Fire V Max, doesn't exist at the moment. You got to think there's going to be a Center Scorch at some point. Because there is a Gigantamax Center Scorch. But it's not here yet. Anyway, I digress. The point is, you're going to be getting a whole bunch of Pokemon with this. Again, I don't know if it's going to be central to the deck. But actually here, we can play the Krabby to spread a bit of damage. Or the other Krabby for the emergency 120. And then you got the Kingler, which can do a little bit of milling. Or do 150. And actually, we're starting to see a lot of fun here. We're starting to see a bunch of things that all add together to make a really nice, interesting group of Pokemon. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we had to spend a little bit of time today talking about crabs. Let's just lump them all in and give them a nice ordinary free Wassies. I do like these cards, I do think they're fun, and I do think that in pre-releases, they are all going to be an awful lot better, but I do think there's just a little bit of potential here, and I would not be surprised to see these coming out in decks in the near future. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to know what your opinion on all this stuff is, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't even have Pokemon in. But I assure you they're all pretty awesome. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.